Somebody call a doctor because bad medicine is back. That's the answer. This is the Appleton Oak. I'm Mason Quinn. Folks, today we're jumping back into Death Note. This is season 1, episode 3. It's called Dealings. What a wild ride. I cannot wait to dive back in. What a surprise this has been.
Yeah, it's such an interesting concept that the notebook is actually what takes people out, and I'm definitely ready, willing, and able for this cat and mouse game between L and Light.
Yeah, talk about coming in hot the first 2 episodes. As much as I think any series that we've watched on this channel, this particular one has really piqued my interest, sucked me in. Can't wait to see what happens next.
All right, without further ado, let's go!
Greetings to all of you at the ICPL. I am L.
Oh, they're kind of doing a quick recap.
What you're doing right now is evil.
Bastard.
This read goes off the rails.
I will eliminate you. I am justice.
What I find interesting about him taking out that guy was that guy's real name. Because remember, it has to be their name and face.
This week, there were an additional 21 people who called in claiming to be Kira.
Of course.
Yep.
We followed standard procedure and created files for all 21 of them.
Why would you claim it? Because then that would happen. Now we have a file on you.
We have confirmed that information of the heart attack victims was in fact publicly available in Japan. All of them occurred between the hours of 4 p.m. and 2 a.m. on weekdays.
That's right.
Weekends and holidays appear to be the exception to this rule.
Oh, that.
Our suspect could very well be a student.
Let's keep narrowing it down.
I think it's safe to assume that he's driven by a very idealistic notion of justice. Of course, this is mere speculation at this point. We must consider every possibility. Please continue with your report.
We've observed a dramatic decrease in the number of violent crimes committed.
Oh, you don't say.
Imagine that.
I suppose it makes sense. We've suspected something like that would happen.
I mean,
Take a closer look at the exact way in which the victims' identities were made public.
Chief! You look like you could use one of these.
I feel all these late nights are starting to take their toll.
About what I said earlier at our meeting. I wanted to apologize.
Nobody said it would be easy to speak the truth, but it has to be done. If you'd gone on to say that we should commend Kira for doing such a great job of
No, I wouldn't. That would never happen.
I'm just kidding.
Yeah, because he's going pretty far down the ladder.
oh, there's our man.
So, do you think you're ready to try a few on your own now?
Yeah. Welcome home, dear.
You sure are relaxed. Pretty confident I've got something that'll give me the advantage.
This guy is so cocky.
You hungry, Dad?
Yeah, it's been a long day.
Oh, what? He's the chief?
And the plot thickens.
Come on. Come on.
Own son.
He's at the top of his class. That's my son. We're all proud of you, Light.
Well, Daddy's a policeman. It's easy for me to hack into Dad's computer.
Wow.
This way I can keep track of their investigation.
Oh,
Right there. Where do you start?
Looks like the police are already beginning to suspect a student.
I guess that means you're in trouble.
If the cause of death is written within 40 seconds of writing the person's name, it will happen. Then I should be able to write down all the details, including time of death afterwards, shouldn't I?
He's got to start switching it up a little
Start
bit.
moving it around.
But then I think
They're going to know that
Al's going to realize that too, that
After the
somehow it's gonna
meeting.
be, something's going to be on to me.
Yep.
Yeah, after the meeting is when the time started changing, so he's going to know there's some sort of mole or the person's got access to information.
We got a leak.
Snap out of it!
Just having some lunch, and there he goes.
Yep.
What? Another 23 victims yesterday? Are these confirmed?
Oh,
One
Jesus.
day?
Killing one off every hour on the hour.
They can also determine the time of death.
As soon as we began to suspect that Kira might be a student, the pacing of the
Here we go.
Kira has access to police information. This is a direct challenge to me.
So, any police officers with teenage kids?
By now, he should be starting to suspect someone with connections to the police.
Oh, what a game of cat and mouse.
This is one fact that cannot be ignored. What is he hoping to achieve in the end?
Elle and the investigators don't trust each other at all. Could you trust someone whose name and face you don't even know?
Interesting.
He'll be obligated to start investigating the police to find the source of the leak. It'll only be a matter of time before the police start resenting Elle. Elle will investigate the police, and they will be investigating Elle.
Drive a wedge.
I'm not the one who's going to find Elle. I can let the police do that for me.
What's this about?
Oh.
We demand that you assign us to a different case. It's because we value our lives, sir.
Oh.
Well, if I were Kira, sir, I'd probably want to try and get rid of the people who were trying to catch me.
I mean, they got a point there.
Yep.
He asked that we take a closer look at how these victims' identities were made public and whether photos of the victims were available.
And they were.
We're out there investigating this case wearing police IDs with our names and photos on them.
Mm-hmm.
For these reasons, we refuse to continue working this case. Excuse us, Chief.
That's pretty valid point.
Everything they said, like, made sense. Like, I would totally be on board with them quitting.
In order to solve this problem, we must establish the concept.
What is he doing?
We have to start thinking of large X's value.
We brought the FBI to Japan 4 days ago.
I am sure that somewhere in this list we will find our suspect.
Right away, Chute Yagami.
Uh-oh.
Light, you got a second? If you don't want to hear me, you can plug your ears or something. I actually think the notebook couldn't have been picked up by a better person. But make no mistake, Light, I'm not on your side or Elle's side. But as your roommate, I might have a...
Roommate.
You're being followed.
I'll have to get rid of him as soon as possible. Does this mean Elle is already starting to suspect the police? I don't see how they could ever figure out that I'm Kira, but the longer I let this person keep following me, the greater the chances they'll figure out who I really am. I need my stalker's name. I can get rid of him for good.
Yeah, but at the same time, they know that he's following
You. Yep.
We are able to take human lifespans for ourselves. Let's say you have a human who is due to live until the age of 60. This person would die at 40. Now those 20 years are added to that god of death's life.
Oh.
That's something about Shinigami that I haven't heard before.
The second difference between us, Shinigami can tell what a person's name is by just looking at their face. We see their lifespan as well.
Wow.
I'm able to see your name and lifespan right now, but there's no way I'd ever tell you that.
That would definitely change things.
Our eyes just aren't the same, and that is the difference between you and I. However, the price for having a Shinigami's eyes is half of that person's remaining lifespan.
Whoa. Half? That's a lot.
If you were supposed to live another 50 years, it'll be 25.
Oh, wow.
You wouldn't just give me the names of people I want to kill. If I agree, I'll be able to know everyone's name just by looking at them.
What'll it be, Light?
Half of your remaining life, bro.
Oh. And who was that guy standing outside? That wasn't Elle.
Oh.
This show, I'm telling you.
Wow. I mean, just amazing. Just amazing every time we watch it.
Yeah, folks, I don't know about you, but I seriously love a good cat and mouse game, and that's essentially what this is, with just this wild story wrapped up in it. So, I mean, I don't know where this ranks in terms of cat and mouse games that I've been sucked into. I think the one, we all kind of think about is Breaking Bad, because there was so much of that going on. So to me, that's one of kind of the top ones. But if you got any more recommendations for good cat and mouse TV shows or movies, I would love to hear it, because this has just been awesome. I like that the story is, it's kept relatively simple, I guess, in terms of kind of what the rules are, what Light has to follow, and kind of what the goal is. It's, a detective essentially trying to catch a criminal, which I guess you could call Light, because that's not exactly legal what he's doing. But
yes,
well, it's frowned upon. No, I'm obviously, he's the criminal in this case, just having a little bit of fun with it. But the way that, Light's kind of looking ahead to different things and thinks he has the upper hand, but then we see where Elle is at, and he's kind of catching right up with them. So Light's not as far ahead as what he thinks, and every time he makes any kind of move, it exposes more information about him. Now we've got somebody, presumably, I think, from the FBI following him around, and now he's going to make the deal with Ryuk to give him half his life. I mean, that's just wild. He's going to give him half his life. So let's say he's 18, he'd maybe live on average another, let's just say 70 years for, easy math. He's giving him half of that. That's just wild.
So only 35, yeah.
Yeah. So, and that's if he's got a perfectly happy long life. What happens if Light, is in an accident or he's on something that goes wrong, and it could be like Ryuk said, and it could be in a year that it happens. Nobody really knows how much time they have. You like to think you're going to live a long life, but you never know. And that's part of the wild thing about the deal that he's making. So I just think it's absolutely fascinating the way, and again, the little twist with all the police detectives wanting to be off the case and retire. Yeah, totally makes sense to me. If you start getting too close and they find out who you are, your name and your picture, your ID, it's all right there.
Oh, yeah.
Totally makes sense that they would want to bail on the case. So I wonder, is that going to follow through to everybody else working the case? And how is the FBI going to work it? Is this going to come down to there's nobody helping L? It's just going to be him. That's kind of
what it's going to dwindle down to.
And maybe Light's dad will stay on the case because he is the chief. What a reveal that was.
Yeah, that was
Comes
awesome.
and sits down at dinner. So, yeah, I just can't wait to see the next episodes to see how this plays out between these two.
So it's funny you mentioned Breaking Bad because, Breaking Bad came out after this. So, but it's funny seeing the similarities that it's, in this case, so it's a teenager and we find out the dad is the chief of police. And so that's how he has access to everything. What I'm thinking is going to happen is just like what kind of happened in Breaking Bad is I think Light's going to get cocky and here and there. So he's got to bring himself back down because, yeah, he can take out the guy following him, but everybody knows he's assigned. Not everybody, but the FBI or whoever knows that he's assigned to following Light. So why would you take him out right away?
Yeah.
Because then right away they're going to be like, hey, the guy that was taking him out, that was the first good guy that got eliminated because everyone has been a criminal and it's been a heart attack or it's been in prison and now it's doing once an hour. So it's like he couldn't have waited like 2-3 days after, like he could have kept up the whole pattern of doing what he was doing and then just switch it up and then go back to doing what he was doing. Just why does he want to suck in the police right away? And then I'm wondering if he does take the deal to get the Shinigami's eyes, does that mean like he is going to look in a mirror and see his name and see what he's got remaining?
He could.
Because it was a very good point that even Ryuk brought up that he's like, hey, you could maybe only have another year on this earth and it's going to be dwindled down to 6 months, which even though I think if that was the case, I don't think he would mind one bit. He would just do as much as he could in those 6 months and not even care about getting caught.
Yeah, he seemed to find a new purpose for his life, regardless of how long it was.
And then what I loved is just when you think you have all the answers, I changed the questions with Ryuk saying, oh yeah, by the way, you can use my eyes. It's just half your life, but hey, you can just look at a face and see it. The one thing I would worry about though is when he gets it is say he looks at his sister or his dad or his mom and then he sees what time, whether a lot or little they have left. So that's going to be the big thing. I wonder if he takes that deal. But man, this show has just been so good so far. We're only 3 episodes in. I absolutely love it. And it's a great, like you said, cat and mouse game that's definitely sucked me in.
Yeah, I mean, what an interesting concept they threw at us now that he's going to be able to see when or what people's names are and when they die. I mean, it just adds another layer to this story. And it seems like Light's getting pretty cocky. I mean, there's a serious God complex that he's got going on right now, and I don't think it's going to play out very good. Look, we saw the last episode that with the way they did the broadcast and the way that that first criminal was taken out, we learned that he was only in local news. They've already been able to narrow it down. Now you narrowed it down even further to somebody who has access to police records. I mean, so the list is going to, I think, continue to get smaller and smaller and smaller. Excuse me. And I think, Light's going to have to keep switching up his game. Now, as far as like trading off half your life just to know people's names, it's like if you go through with that, you are like obsessed with this.
Yeah.
Okay. Like obsessed.
Well, I think he's determined his course and what he's meant to do.
Well, that's
in
kind of
this
the
life,
thing. Is like,
so it
look,
doesn't matter.
23 people in a day.
Yeah.
I mean, think about that. Now on the flip side, we did see one of the officers say, hey, not for nothing, but violent crimes going down in the city. And interesting enough that the chief, now we know, which is his dad, was kind of like, yeah, we're aware, like we know.
See the numbers.
we see the numbers like, hey, somebody's doing the job that you can't. And, we've seen other, TVs and films where you have a vigilante figure where the authorities are like, you can't do this, like kind of doing your job for you, but, in a little bit of overly enthusiastic manner, I guess.
And we're so far down the level of crime that Light is taking people out for. It's
the last episode it was
armed robbery.
Armed robbery for 15 years and he took him out. So like really that's
like I don't know. It's going to be interesting. I do very much like the cat and mouse game. It's going to be I'm curious to see how this is going to play out. And again, they threw another twist at us with his dad being the chief of police. That moment where he comes home and it's like you see the face, you're like, oh shit.
Well, that's
by the way, is that culture that the dad rings the doorbell to come home and get welcomed into the house by the wife?
Yeah, that was interesting.
Because I mean, let me know because I obviously I don't understand that culture. So let me know if that is proper over there. So, but.
And the other thing too that I think the general public, they're fine with it now because criminals and stuff are being taken out. But how far down the list of crime does it go? Oh, that guy was jaywalking. Take him out. That's criminal. And eventually you're going to start. I think this would be many, many episodes or maybe even seasons, which I know there's only 2 down the road of the general public living in fear of doing absolutely anything wrong. And then you find yourself under like a totalitarian.
That's why it was interesting. That was nice that they had Matsuda like, hey, I got something. Crime is down these last couple weeks. And so, I like the little back and forth with him and Yagami because it's true. I mean, everyone's going to live in fear. Like we saw last episode, the guy sweating on his phone, just worried about breaking any sort of law because he could be next.
We got officers living in fear now.
Oh, and that too. I mean, that was really good.
Yeah, because Light's shown he'll take out somebody who's not a criminal if they get in his way.
That's the one thing that I think they did great with the writing is because otherwise, like, look, again, justice system, there's due process, but you're cheering for a minute there when, hey, we're taking out a bunch of bad guys. And it's like, whoa, hold on. Like
not quite
now
that far.
You're taking out somebody because they're investigating you and just that person's not a bad person. They're literally just doing their job, investigating you. And now you're going to take them out. It's like, all right, buddy, you crossed the line and all like the cheering that you were doing for Light just like fizzled real hard.
Yeah, we saw that.
For me,
we saw that in episode 2 when he was at the computer and he was like, "Who do you think?" Essentially, he's like, "Who do you think I am? I'm a god."
Yeah, went from thinking, okay, this is an interesting concept. He's doing some good to like, wow, this guy like has a mega god complex. It's not gonna play out good.
That's how interesting. And in this movie, I broke his pen. No, but this has been so fun to watch because it's really sucked all 3 of us in. You all knew that, didn't you? So we're going to catch you on the next episode. So for Appleton Oak, that's Mason Quinn. I'm, of course, Answer. Catch you on the next one, pals.
Definitely some interesting images here.
Yeah, the artwork is very curious.
And I'm just wondering when we're going to start to make sense of what we're seeing.
Yeah, pretty much the only thing I know sense of is the apple.
Like who's this? We don't even know.
A believer. I'm betting there's going to be like Kira believers. Like that's just my assumption.
Another 23 victims yesterday?
Kira has access to police information.
Does our guy L not have any furniture in his place?
It just has a computer and that's it.
You're being followed.
I'll have to get rid of him as soon as possible.
The price for having a Shinigami's eyes is half of that person's remaining lifespan. That's all it is.
Oh, that's all.
That's all.
Is it a deal?
It was probably picked up by some human before he could get to it.
He was carrying 2 death notes.
Yeah, he mentioned
What?
that. Yeah, he mentioned that.
This deal is out of the question.
All right.
Surprised
Common
me.
sense prevails.
He surprised me.
Wow, yeah. I for sure thought he was going to take it.
My plan is to create an ideal new world free from evil and all criminals. I might consider the deal if it lengthened my life.
I still felt I should tell you that the deal existed. Anyway, I've done my part.
You could have simply included it in the instructions for the Death Note.
Good point. And he seems to have no problem giving me a hard time.
You sure there's nothing else you want to tell me ahead of time, Shinigami?
So you're just going to sleep with it out?
I might have seriously considered the deal if you'd offered me wings instead of eyes. I bet that could be pretty interesting.
Jesus with this kid.
The Shinigami realm is slowly rotting. We no longer even know why we exist. You're becoming a much more impressive Shinigami.
I don't want to be compared to a Shinigami. I wouldn't necessarily say that the Shinigami realm is meaningless to humans either. The Shinigami realm is slowly rotting, right? Well, when you return from this world, why not use what you've learned here to try and change it for the better?
You're quite the positive thinker.
That's why I'm using the Death Note to create a better world.
Positive thinker.
Better world.
I think I just figured out how to find the name of the guy who was following me today. I'm gonna use the rules of the Death Note to my advantage. I need to know exactly how far I can go in terms of specifying the details of death.
Oh boy. Yeah. Accident. Car accident. How fast cars were going.
Bizarre behavior before they died.
He drew a pentagram on the wall of his cell using his own blood.
Oh.
He escaped from his cell and ran all the way to the staff bathrooms before he died.
It sounds like he was afraid that Kira would find him.
Kira was performing some kind of test.
So now he's experimenting on his victims?
He's playing with people's lives.
That's your boy.
Yeah, that's
Kind of is.
It's your pride and joy.
What is he trying to achieve? Look at this, Ryuk. All 3 did exactly what I intended them to do. For the other 3 inmates, I purposely wrote conditions that were virtually impossible. With the first one, I wrote that he would die in front of the Eiffel Tower in 1 hour.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
Supposed to draw an exact picture of L's face on the prison wall. You can't draw someone you've never seen. I specified that he would write a note that read, "I know that L is suspicious of the Japanese police." But it didn't end up happening. Even the Death Note can't do the impossible.
Ugh.
What's all this leading to?
He's probably trying to decipher all the clues I left for him.
Kira used those criminals to conduct an experiment of some sort. It means he's about to start some...
Is he in a padded room?
Perhaps he has a different goal in mind altogether. Is this it?
Time for the real thing. Yesterday on the news, they said this drug addict tried to rob a bank. I'll use him. I got a few people in mind.
For what?
Believe it or not, I'm actually a rather popular guy.
Hello?
I do like that they always keep giving you what the Death Note is about. Just
new info and refreshing you.
Refreshing us on everything.
Light!
A date? What do you plan on doing?
Just be patient.
I got a feeling what he's up to, but...
I'm so excited.
Yeah.
No.
A normal kid, just a hardworking senior in high school. No cause for suspicion.
Are they writing the book off on him right away?
I think Light's gonna use that criminal somehow.
Didn't you say you weren't going out until entrance exams were over?
That was before I scored #1 on the national practice exam.
Oh, dude goes and sits right behind him.
I just hope nothing happens to her.
No, I don't think it will. We'll see if
I'm just expecting the worst, because what better way to really throw off the surveillance too than have someone next to you, like close to you?
Well,
or that.
It's him. He's here.
He's gonna do something that the cop is gonna have to stop.
Whoa!
Stay in your seats unless you want to die.
Now we're gonna find out who the. Yep.
Everybody, shut up! I know you've got the number for Spaceland's office on you.
Spaceland's office.
No
My bus
tricks.
has been hijacked. I have a female staff member bring all of Spaceland's cash from yesterday. If you mess with me at all, I swear I'll kill every one of these passengers.
Dude, at least act like you're concerned.
As soon as he turns around, I'm going to grab the gun out of his hand.
Don't be stupid.
Now he knows.
Do you have any proof that you're not his accomplice?
I have no choice. Here's my proof.
There we go.
We got the FBI to investigate anyone connected to the Japanese police. Ray Penber.
Aha.
His face was all over the local news just a few days ago.
He won't shoot us.
Uh-oh.
What the hell is that? Plans for a date, huh?
Gotcha.
Who the hell are you? How long have you been hiding back there?
You're talking to me?
Oh, he made him touch the death note.
Because it was part of the notebook paper.
Yeah, now he can see him.
Everyone, get down!
That little note that Light accidentally dropped.
Yep.
He's the only other one on the bus who can see me.
Oh, just popping off random rounds.
I'm a Shinigami, so I'm afraid your bullets aren't gonna kill me. Shinigami can't die from being shot.
Not by a long shot.
Let me off!
And
all precisely to plan.
11:45 on the dot. Everything went just as I planned.
Sneaky, sneaky.
Accidental death, holding a loaded gun and attempts to hijack the bus.
all planned out.
He flees the bus. He dies when struck by a car.
Gosh.
Death Note never fails.
But now, does he even have to bother with...
Next.
Well, I guess he does.
Ray Penber.
He just said he... Oh,
said he was in the clear. So, see, now that's... Folks, do you think Ray has to go? I don't... Guys, I don't know what you think. I don't see why he really has to, because... Light's in the clear for it, right? Like, the detective doesn't suspect him anymore.
Yeah.
He was going to give him the clear... You're fine. You're good. Oh, man, this is just wild.
Going too far, guys. He's going too far.
Well, the detail that Light can put into the Death Note to take people out is wild. And the fact that he can give him his own cover. And I did not see any of... I mean, I suspected it might be something like this, where Light was going to create a situation where the policeman or the FBI agent would have to expose himself. I thought maybe that might happen. That seemed the most logical, but I didn't know how he was going to do it. And I love how this show is written. It's so much fun. You kind of think you know where something's going, but then they throw a twist at it. And the whole idea of making it look like an accident on how the criminal got taken out was just wild. And I thought that was going to be the end of it. Okay, he saw who Ray is, he got his picture, but because he's not being suspected anymore, it seems to me, and I don't know what you guys think, but it seems to me like that would then bring interest back onto Light after just clearing himself if he takes out the FBI agent.
Yeah, I don't get why he would want to do that. And
I mean, he's a top student in the country, Answer. He must know something.
Well,
right?
he must know something he's not telling us, as we saw on the whole bus escapade. So,
I don't know. So that's going to be wild to figure out. We saw a new character brought into the fold. We have Light's date that he was out with, somebody that he obviously knows and has for a while. So now we have somebody new in the picture. Is that going to muddy the waters? I don't think it will too much, because Light seems so driven and focused on what he's doing. I really don't see a love interest having anything to do with altering his plan.
Serve as some kind of alibi for something?
What that's what it was. Yeah, it was the alibi. He was being, because when Ray was writing down the notes, like, normal kid goes on dates, going to Spaceland, not him, he's in the clear. And now if Ray gets taken out, I mean, isn't that not going to bring suspicion back on Light? I mean, they were following him for a reason. Yeah. So that's just wild. I'm not sure. Well, I'm sure we're going to find out in the next episode, and the top student in the country must know better than me. So
well, yeah, he's smarter than all three of us, so he's got to have an idea. Yeah, my biggest concern was that Yuri. Like, I was wondering, because obviously to get the guy to stop following you, which ended up being Ray, is, what if someone close to him like dies, of a sudden heart attack? Then he could go, well, he's not going to write that about his date, possibly. Yeah. But then maybe L would have maybe saw right through that, be like, well, hey, there's maybe something there. And then there's a hallucination. There's he was shooting. So I'm thinking why he wants to get rid of Ray now is because, well, the guy was like shooting at an hallucination, and he was like, why are you here? What are you doing to me? What is that in the back of the bus? Yeah. Could he then eventually also go, Ray, to like tell that to Ellen? I was like, so there was an hallucination. There had to have been something that it noticed that it wasn't noticing before, because up until that, he had 0 things probably in his file about hallucination.
Yeah, and now all of a sudden.
So now all of a sudden, right before he gets got, accidentally, he has a hallucination and he's firing bullets into the back of the bus, scaring everyone. Meanwhile, if there's a cam on the bus, which, obviously this was, 06, there were maybe, I think, cameras on some city buses.
I would say,
so there's a camera on there, and it basically is on, light. He's sitting there calm, cool, and collected the entire time, with the exception of when he drops the note. Yeah. So then I'm wondering, are they going to look into him right there and be like,
seems a little too cool.
He seems like everybody else is, he's like holding on to him, and he just sat there like that. Like even the federal agent that was following him had sweat going down the side of his head. So, but him having it written down to the frickin' T and having it work because of his experiments.
Yeah.
And what was good is that, because now L's gonna have to figure out, okay, he can be, because he looked at the 3 cases that it has to be plausible to happen.
Yep.
So now he's going to look into this, because L is just as smart, if not smart. Well, I'm just going to say just as smart for right now, because I think he's going to figure out something about, okay, he can be very specific as long as it's plausible. So this show, God, it's really sucked me in. I cannot wait for more.
Yeah, I like that, that they showed Light kind of experimenting just how much detail he has, how much input he has. That was interesting. That whole scene on the bus with, the way he had the piece of paper dropped, and then all of a sudden the guy saw Ryuk. I thought that was crazy. But, I don't love that he's going to be going after the investigators. First we have L, now we have Ray, and I'm going to take these guys out because they're on to me. It's like, well, how about just, set them off on a different path? What if I was trying not to get caught?
This is all hypothetical.
Hypothetically speaking, if I was trying not to get caught, but was trying to take people out, of course, in prison, it's significantly more difficult. I would research what the top, accidental ways to pass were. Oh, this person had an accidental this person had an accidental that. Because then it at least masks it a little bit. Yes, you still have the police looking into why are people with a criminal background or a criminal history dying, but at least try to cover it up. You can't have everybody just dying of a heart attack, right? So now he's trying to do it a little bit different. Of course, this guy comes off the second, or I think this, maybe it's more, but we've seen people get hit by vehicles before.
Yeah, we saw the guy outside the store.
Motorcycle gang. Or whatever. Yeah. So, I'm curious to see where this is going to go. But again, I've said it before. They had us rooting for him a little bit, with, okay, let's take out the bad guys. Then the slippery slope happened with, what is the definition of a bad guy and who deserves to be, punished by losing their life. And now it's like, okay, well, now I'm going to start taking on anybody that suspects me or, and I know he's just doing his investigative work, but look, it's not good. So now he knows this guy's name. He's seen his face as well. So it'll be interesting to see what he does here. But, the show is... It's interesting.
Yeah, and I'm wondering where L is, because it's interesting that he's just in a room with no furniture and the walls. I don't know if that was supposed to be metal or if that was supposed to be padded. Like, is L some kind of genius that's in an asylum of some kind? and all they give him is a computer and a mouse and no furniture because
it could just be a click,
I don't know.
You know,
Yeah.
those
you think
guys
he's an extreme minimalist or something?
Oh, yeah, extreme
minimalist.
Well,
yeah.
yeah, sometimes geniuses can be that way. They are very, just want to be left alone to their own devices. And look at it, he's able to figure out some things so far. Like, it's only a matter of time before L figures out there's got to be like a notebook or something. Like, maybe not a death note like on the dot, but he's going to figure out that he has some power that, and obviously, even if they can kind of figure out that it's light, well, on the bus, it's not like he wrote it down in a notebook. He wrote it beforehand, so it's not like he went like, he will pass away now.
Yeah, right.
So, like, they're going to have to figure out how is he doing it. So
and are they going to accept a supernatural explanation as to why or as to how it's happening? That's my biggest question. Are they going to accept, the police going to accept the fact, yeah, there's this magical notebook and you write names down and that's how it takes people out? Will they accept that? And that's going to be, I think, an interesting thing coming up, that L seems to be somebody who thinks very straightforward, very logical, sees many paths. Is he going to accept the world of the supernatural? That'd be like asking Oak to accept the world of the supernatural. I don't think he's going to go for it.
Well, my bag, baby.
He likes some things, not all things with some things, but man, this show has really sucked us in. We cannot wait for more of this. This has been so much fun. Thank you all for letting the poll show that we needed to watch this. So for Appleton Oak, that's Mason Quinn. I'm of course the Answer. We'll catch you on the next one, pals.